Hey guys, and today Shorty and I are going to make a bit of discussion about who will be the next powerhouse. Now, mate, you got the dictionary here for us, so what are we going to define as a powerhouse over the next few years?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, what is a powerhouse, I suppose. But I think consistent top four, so prelims, and of course winning a flag and multiple grand finals, definitely. So Brisbane, of course, we were, of course, one. Hawthorn are one right now. And we've classified Collingwood as one because they won one, couple of grand finals.
Yeah,
and,
two in a row sort of thing.
Yeah, and preliminary finals as well. So we've given them the tick and just. So it's not as though like you win a flag and you're a powerhouse.
No, that's right.
You really got to be the top of the comp for at least a couple of years, probably even at least three, probably like right up there. So that's what we're going to have a crack at today.
Well, Port Adelaide were maybe considered one back in the early 2000s, where I think they were top of ladder or very close for 3 times, and it took them until 2004 to sort of get there. So
yeah, well, that's where it's tricky to define, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's probably one
but I guess
little anomaly there.
Yeah,
so
the big gauge is of course flags. So I guess we're predicting pretty much multiple flags almost, like, or at least going to be contending.
One and maybe a few prelims and grand final entries hopefully. So
the next Hawthorn.
The next Hawthorn. So that's pretty much what we're going to discuss, mate. Who have you gone with as the next powerhouse?
Well, yeah, I found it tough, this one. It's really hard to decide like who is gonna really come through, and I didn't want to make it too obvious, I suppose, but I've gone with Gold Coast. And I guess that is obvious. Like, everyone's been saying it, but I can't see Sydney getting like heaps better. Same with Freo and us in Hawthorn. So I feel they may be the next real crop to come through. I was looking at the game against Collingwood, sort of infamous one when Ablett went down and they all stood up, but then they lost 6 of the last 7. So it was famous in a way because they all stood up and like they've arrived, but I'm expecting to see more of that sort of game and the previous rounds where they were flying. And I looked at that match, sort of the numbers and things like that, because you sort of look at the ages and sort of 24 to 26 is that real prime where you see heaps of guys.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
In flag winning sides are right in their peak. So
you got to be sort of an older side to be a chance, I must say.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just looking at it, and they only have one 30-year-old in that side. And that was Gary Ablett. So he's a handy 30-year-old, sort of just gauging on, I think I'll look at the ages and from today, we'll say.
Yeah.
And, they from 22 to 26, it was 14 out of the 22. So it's, they're all getting a year older this year and another 22 games.
Another pre-season.
Yeah, and I think the two 19-year-olds were Jack Martin and I think Cade Cole-Dashney. So I just like the Gold Coast setup. They've got a brilliant midfield coming through with O'Meara, of course, Ablett and Prestia, Lonigan, Martin, and they bring in Hallahan. And of course Malcheski off the back line. That'll also loosen up Mackenzie. Got the key defenders in Thompson and May.
Thompson's a gun. I love him.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
When he's not playing against us.
Yeah. And then the ruckman, Zach Smith and Tom Nichols, the two really exciting ruckmen who are mobile as well. In the forward line, you got the Talls in Dixon and Lynch.
Yep.
And Day as well. That's one I nearly forgot.
We've got a few.
And Brandon Matera on the deck. He's pretty classy player, kicked 27 goals this year. So a few things to come through, and they've got pick 8 again this year. So they'll find someone else there, you'd say. But yeah, I like the look of them, mate. They've got a good mix of the inside ball winners and the outside, the match winners. Harley Bennell is another one I forgot.
Match winner.
Yeah, he's a match winner. So I think they're going to be very, very hard to stop, which has been well documented. But they could be the next powerhouse because, I watched them live at Gold Coast this year, and they looked pretty close to a powerhouse then when they got up and running.
They made us look pretty slow, and a lot of teams did make us look slow this year.
They are quick though, and I just think those taller players, they take longer, but they might be, within the next year or two, they could be ready to explode. And I think their midfield already is ready to explode.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I did say Tommy Lynch was potentially the next best power forward coming through. If you want to check out that video.
Yeah.
which is regarded as the best key forward of the modern era. And we sort of mentioned a few other things as well, so feel free to check that out as well. But
no, they're my prediction for the next powerhouse there, mate. So we'll see how that one goes. But who are you locking in to be the next big thing?
You'd love to be a Gold Coast supporter, but I've gone with Port Adelaide, and that's probably about as obvious as Gold Coast. They're two clubs on the rise, seemingly. Port just have a young brigade, and they're just competitive and almost uncompromising. I mean, there's not so many names you sort of fear, I guess. I mean, they've got a team of players that just play their role and usually get the job done, and just have such an amazing game style. Started by Ken Hinkley.
Yeah.
And I think he pioneered that at the Cattery.
Yeah,
that was
big behind it. Yeah.
That was supposedly the main reason for the Cats taking the game on and whatnot, and it's pretty indicative of the way Port Adelaide have played their game for most of the last couple of years whilst he's been on. Paddy Ryder's a huge addition.
Yeah.
It'll help out Jay Schultz up forward. Probably not as much, but it'll give also, it's not Renouf.
Matt Lovey,
that's the one. Forgot the bloke's name. Gee whiz. But yeah, so I mean, that'll certainly help Port, and I think that'll really give them a leg up next year.
They will.
Coming on, so yeah, I mean, they're going to be a tough top side to beat, and they were this year, so...
Well, yeah, they were top of the ladder up to, was it 12 rounds, something like
Pretty
that?
sure, two games clear at one point, so I mean, yeah, they're only going to get better, and their midfield is just fantastic. I mean, you think of names like Boak, Ebert, Hartlett, and they're all pretty much around the same age. They're
Robbie
all
Gray, of course.
Robbie Gray, yep. Robbie Gray, I think he's around 27, and Boak's probably around the same age, and you've got Ebert and Hartlett that are 24, turning 25 next year, so they're all going to their prime, and how good Port are going now.
Yeah.
It's exciting to think where they'll be 12 months, 24 months' time, so...
Yeah, it's hard to argue that, because they're almost an underrated side to an extent. I mean, the players that give them that edge are sort of underrated.
Oh, for sure. You don't hear too much about them.
But no, they tick all the boxes in as position-wise and age-wise, and they, like Gold Coast, haven't shown what they can do really yet, but Port Adelaide have. So
yeah,
nearly made a grand final. So.
Yeah, only by, a couple of points, but I'll get into that pretty shortly, actually, mate.
Yeah.
So... They've got plenty of match winners as well. I mean, you've got Boak, you've got Monfries, you've got Wingard, Schultz, Westhoff, Ollie Wines, even maybe Matt White.
Yeah.
If you want to look at Geelong, I mean, you can probably think of three off the top of your head. Selwood, Johnson, and Tommy Hawkins.
Yeah.
Not many others come to mind, and obviously, with a lot of players have retired and been delisted and whatnot, but you can't keep all those blokes down.
No.
So
to win matches, you've got to have match wins.
Oh, that's right, mate. It's not too difficult footy. So if they keep their recruiting going right, they'll be some force to reckon with. And they've only improved since Ken Hinkley's come on. 2013, that never say die spirit, coming back from 41 points against West Coast in the third quarter, mind you, late in the third quarter. It was a fantastic win.
Yeah, impressive stuff.
Couldn't believe it, and they nearly beat us in the final in 2013, so they certainly challenged and nearly beat Hawthorn this year, and I think they were a bit stiff. I mean, they outplayed them but just couldn't kick straight.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
We were so excited at the time, and
I know, we were.
a few interesting umpire decisions, but we don't blame umpires for losses.
We won't delve into that.
Oh, mate, I just don't understand how Jonas gets pinged for holding the ball when he's going after the footy, and Bryant Lake sort of just, he hangs over the footy for 5 seconds, literally dives on top of it.
So we are delving into it.
We are, mate, because I'm frustrated about it, and that was just not cool. Umpires just favouring the home side on that occasion.
It's alright, mate, it's in the past.
It wasn't great, but...
Move on.
Cost them a premiership, mate. So,
bang.
We'll move on from that. But they run and spread from the contest as good as any side, maybe even as good as Hawthorn, because they nearly beat them. But they're just fantastic to watch, mate. And it's an exciting brand of footy, and I just can't see them, not going up. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
That style of play is the most attractive in the game, and it's probably the most effective too.
It wins matches.
Like if you can play it the way they did. Granted, it takes a heap of fitness and, top of your game backing yourself in, but they showed they could do it. They had a flat patch for whatever reason it was.
Bit of a flu, I think, throughout the club, and a few injuries.
Floated about, but then they click back in when not many thought they would. And
like us, we made a video about saying they won't.
Yeah, we did, didn't it? So, I think they've shown they can do it throughout a full season, basically, and you would expect, like I said, with Gold Coast, with another 22 games and a pre-season, and like Ryder as well, it's hard to not see them contending once again.
Yeah, they might make the grand final next year, but...
you said they were going to win it.
I guess I did, so I put myself under the knife there, but... as Shorty mentioned with Fremantle and Sydney, you've got Pavlich, Sandilands and McFarlane, all pretty much 32, 33. They're probably all going to retire at the end of next year, so if they don't do any damage, well, they're not going to win one under Ross Lyon, which is pretty unfortunate, but they're not going to be the next powerhouse because everyone's pretty much about to retire. Sydney got a pretty old brigade as well, so yeah, Geelong probably rebuilding at the moment. Hawthorn got a fair amount of older players as well, so they'll be in the same mold. They won't drop far, but they'll probably be where we're at now, maybe in the next couple of years.
It's certainly not saying that Sydney or Hawthorn or even Fremantle can't win it in 2015. It's more so saying that they're not the next powerhouse, I suppose, which we're saying over a few years. But
that's it.
Yeah, so and North Melbourne too, but I guess we overlooked them because I think they might be just a good side. That's what they could do, but
that's
don't quite have those powerhouse credentials yet. But you don't know.
Damien Barrett just reckons they lack a few X factors.
Yeah, they probably do.
I don't know. I mean, they got Boomer Harvey, Jack Zeeble.
Yeah.
Maybe that's 2 X factors in the whole team. But
well, you never know. They did enough to make top 4 in the end, so they'll be up there. That's for sure. Yeah, but maybe one for another video.
Oh, we'll see how we go, mate. You keep just giving me the suggestions and I'll keep thinking about them. Well, those are some of the thoughts from Shorty and myself on who we think is going to be the next powerhouse. So feel free to comment who you think is going to be a bit of a contender in the next couple of years. It's always going to be an interesting couple of years looking ahead, further ahead. So, it's always exciting in the world of footy. So.
Always exciting.
I'm never not excited, mate. Oh, yeah. I think I've watched too many of his press conferences.
I think so.
It's all good though. Alright, well, feel free to subscribe to us because we need plenty of support. We love subscribers and we love views, so help us out there and like the video if you enjoyed it. And thanks heaps for sticking around, and we'll see you guys all soon.